Oh, morning. Um, R. It's Saturday morning, and acting. Right. I have my coffee. I straight out of jump. Okay. Anyway, uh, I'm left-handed. They print stuff on. They print it on one side only, and it's not left-handed friendly because I mean I hold my cup like this, and then I can see the print, but so it's not remote meeting. I'm gonna turn on my little lava lamp, and by the end of this session, it has actually started to. Anyway, what I will do today is back in my into my software as a service application and do a little bit of coding. Let me just update. Then Rails, then update the title. Oh, so I was trying to. Every time I start a stream, I get this notification that I on my stream cell phone. Kind of. So and then and then right. Uh, right. Oh, oh, I don't know. Right. So let's head over. Right. So and let's pop up our terminal. Uh, and and dive in API that is called Bocado API. RSpec. RSpec testing I use to test my Rails apps, and the Ruby on Rails application that I'm writing right now is API only app. So there is no user interfaces. What we do serve our clients JSON response, open up an API, and we provide a lot of functionality here for various types of requests. And I am considering adding Swagger, but I haven't decided on yet. Document this API. Let's see if we can put on some royalty free. I keep getting into trouble with with Switch. Godding so careful, I guess. I don't know. And then also, I noticed that if I upload my videos for archiving purposes, and always good. Not like I'm a hoarder, but anyway, it's. I upload my streams to got into trouble. I got so I have to be careful. Basically, and when I say all sorts of trouble, is that I got some copyright infringement. There's a specific term for that. I don't know. Right. So let's. Right. So this was the test. Let's. Where's my music? So here's my music. Let's. Okay. I think I messed up this. Right. So add. A window. I do not. Wow. What's going? Yeah. Let's forget it. I remember that I have to a few that. Anyway, back to my application. So here I have this API, and we have a lot of tests. I have 250 examples written here. And there are, of course, quite a few ones that are totally out of scope with what I'm doing here. What I am doing here, just heads up on that. Let me put up a browser here. What I am build on this little application. And so in this an app or a small little platform that will allow restaurant owners to deal with their with their prepaid lunch cards or gift cards that are filled with some money. And that is exactly the feature that I will be today, because what we have developed so far, the feature that will allow us to create vouchers with that are pre-configured with like 10 or 15 lunches, like servings. But what I'm looking for now is able to refill it with a fixed amount of money, right? Like 100, I don't know, depends of course what sort of currency we're using at the local market, but we've used in Sweden, so you start with like let's 500 crowns, 1,000 crowns, and so on, and then every time you start, you consume something at that given menu, then you deduct that from that card. And the idea is, of course, have some sort of some like a date for how long things are valid. That is the thing that we want to add today. Let me see if we can run our end-to-end tests on the front end. I will mainly be working on the back end today, but I want to run my tests on the front end. On Cypress, the thing, and let's see if we can back up that. Where's my runner? Where's my runner? What did it? Well, we got something here. No version of it. Right. Yes, because I did change, but it is. Oh, right. So I have to run. Already. Really? Okay. Oh. So if I do yarn now, already up to date, and yarn Cypress. Starts up the dev server. Currently, just because I changed. That's because my node version. I do have that. Hold on a second. It's not a very nice thing to have Cypress. or at least I thought I. Come on, go to bed for a few hours, come back and you. I did turn it off before I went to bed, so I did start the whole thing now. Off. Okay, so what's the O'Neill? What's going on? Focus. Third place. Let's see. Right. Okay. First of all, let's locate our IDE. No IDE. Thank you. It's right. This mode. Let's check package. Then have it as a dev dependency. That. What I referred. Right. So. Right. So, anyways, the yarn. And see actually in, and it is not still getting failed to transfer. What are you talking about? So really so should I go debug I'm just gonna try to 4 0. Oh, sorry. Because I know that I had this running just like in some configuration file. I would like to see what version is preferred, what node version is preferred for each project, and we're still getting this. Actually, no version of right, because I'm not using 660. Right? Perhaps that is the problem. I'm not. Well, I am. I don't want. Well, but do I want to use? Because I am. Oh, actually, I'm using. So there was what I was just checking now is because is the way I intercept network calls. Because in the latest versions of Cypress, they introduced this function called intercept. Before that, we were starting up a server, and then we were stubbing out each routes, and here we are using that. So that's okay. That's good. But why am I getting this? So see, not found at this, right? Well, so, yeah, so let's, because I switched node versions, and I shouldn't be wrong. Also, I am not even going to work on that particular part of, really, who gives? But I hate when we're not working. So I really right. If you want to know more about Cypress, Cypress IO is so this is the their website. So work to use and to get working. Right. 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 So that's going the thing that you can want to know more about this, and also just to, if you are interested in checking out this project. Yeah, I'm thinking about deleting, but it shouldn't be that. But of course, that is one. I do that. And the last URL I sent was the address to the particular website that you. All right, so RMRF node modules like this. I'm not particularly fond of doing it like that, but sometimes you just have to do. Gotta do. Right, so let's do yarn again. Call the dependence. Thank you for the follow. Aeon, how do you say that? Aeon Mike? It's gonna call you Mike, all right. Mike, if you want to tell us who you are and where you're from and what you code on, if you code, then that would be fantastic. Let's see. And it's gonna probably fix the. That was a good. What's up? I was still surprised by behavior. Oh, you're from Agile Ventures. How fantastic. So I used to be very involved in Agile Ventures. I think it's a fantastic community. I know Sam from way back from the edX course on Ruby on Rails. That actually got me started in Rails. I can't even emphasize. I mean, I can't really express in words how important Agile Ventures has been. So I hope you get the same, a good experience out of hanging around that place, because it's really great. Nice to see you. I recently, when I started to stream, I started to post these things because I would love to interact more with members of the community. But my work is kind of killing me. So I think that this could be a good way to get in Agile Ventures again, or at least get in touch. Members. You do Python, Ruby, Elixir. Ooh, Elixir, and JavaScript. Okay. Perhaps you can tell me more about Elixir at some point, because I know really literally nothing about Elixir. And I would be really interested at some point to know more about. I do mostly, so deleting node modules, by the way, was the way to go. So thanks, Mike. I do mostly Node.js, Ruby on Rails, of course. That's my kind of legacy nowadays. That for it's now 7 years. And I do a lot of ReactJS and vanilla. I'm looking. Let's see if we can run the integration tests. But is it good? Is Elixir good for web development? Like I build information systems web, right? That's what I kind of do. And is Elixir good for that? Right. So our integration tests, they work. We go green. And so I just wanted to show you this, guys, that if you haven't used Cypress, I think you should definitely go into that. It kind of aggregates a lot of existing solutions like chai assertions, for instance, and other technologies underneath it. But it wraps it into this very nice interface that will help you a lot in the development process. You keep on running your tests, you become very visual and what's going on the screen and so on. But also another thing is that you can run it in headless state. So if you want to Cypress on a continuous integration service, that is perfectly fine. And Mike, you're learning all the 4 languages. Okay, so yeah, of course, open source will help you a lot with that, because you interact with people that are already in those languages and they work on real projects. And I think that Agile Ventures is fantastic in that sense. If we can, just so I have done it, let's pull up Agile Ventures website on. Yeah, so this is the community website. I'll log in, have account. Right, and so hey, this is from like 7 years ago, I think, on this image. Tough guy, right? I'm a basic member nowadays, and I'm still sleeping on my keyboard. But how can I can't I update that? How can I update that status of ready to pair, waiting for ready to pair coding? Right, so I say ready to pair. So they're just preset. Right. Okay. Yeah, so I've been doing a few. So it's never difficult to test in this. Right. You elaborate on that? So, and while you do, perhaps is I use my Cypress tests to help me in my process decide what to build actually. And I'm not a great CSSer, you know. So, but still, I'd love to see going on. But anyway, let's keep this. Let's actually close this. We can stop this. This is not focused today. What I will doing is to go over to this guy, my backend, pop this open, and I will take a closer look at my tests that are. Let's just close all of this stuff now, and I'm just going to go to my specs. Available. There's an update. Yeah, we can update that. So I use Holograph to format my code. Right. Seems to be a lag on the chat with, but that's okay. I'll live with it. Let's have a look at the specs for. So we have the channels. You're right. So I'm doing some WebSocket applications here. I have my factory here. I have a voucher factory. I have this value, right? So the probably gonna have to create some sort of a variant. Variant attribute on that model, because I would like to have a variant saying that there are servings versus value, servings value, cache value, perhaps. So let's think about that. Let's make a note. Really. I don't miss. Hold on a sec. So all of a sudden I don't have a paper. I have this. My black book. No, it's kidding. Right. I don't have a pivotal tracker or a Trello board on this one. Oh, really? Sorry to hear that about you. You can always catch the recording. Have you here anyway, Mike? Anyway, so voucher should have a variant, and that should be either serving or have hash value or cache, perhaps cache. Yeah, cache. Currency. Yeah, let's. Oh, you're from Kisumu, Kenya. Okay. Yeah, I know that there are some great stuff going on in the tech domain, Kenya. In regard of a lot of young people learning to code and doing some fantastic stuff, and there's also, from what I understand, a vibrant volunteer community, I think is great. And I know that there has been some prominent members of the Agile Ventures community very active in Kenya. So good for you. Let's see, can move on and take a look at the, so we have those factories and that's good. So we have fixtures, that's the logo. Then we have the lib, and then we have spec for the credit, for the card, for the lunch card generator. And so this one is rather interesting, in my opinion, because what we're doing here in the application is that we create a voucher, and the voucher is being rendered into a PDF, a physical PDF that could be printed out or sent out to the client or the customer, whoever buys it. It sent out as an attachment in an email or whatever, so we can download it. And further down the line, we're considering adding it to like Apple Wallet or some other digital service. But this test is a very simple test. It actually generates a voucher and creates that PDF. Then it opens the PDF. It opens the file and then reads it using a library called PDF Inspector. And we analyze the text and then get hold of a lot of strings. You can check whether this particular PDF contains those strings, which is a good way to test PDF content. This will, however, totally fail for me now, probably, when I run it, but it didn't. Well, it actually did pass. So let's see if we can run this one. And so we will say RSpec spec lib card generators. Right. Does actually pass for. That's okay. We're checking with a custom card generator and contain voucher data, but I am not passing in much info here. Right, I am not passing in. Well, you see, those of you who have followed my screen before, I always say like, you should document stuff even. But I'm a bit worried that that we don't get enough things done here. That we're not passing in enough information. But I'm saying voucher, so I'm passing in the voucher. I'm saying render true, and the variant 1 and language n. So this means that if I would change that to SV, it will fail for me now, because the output it says launch card. Right. Yeah. Right. Right. That's not bad, actually. That's not bad at all. That's not bad. Right, so try with a valid voucher. Right. So could probably write a test for the languages, but it doesn't really matter at this stage. Yeah. So no, this is good. So this is a bit cryptic. Those arguments that we are passing in here, like the one which is just a variant of the voucher. It feels like a magic number here. It doesn't come across what it is about. So let's add that. Let's think about it. Anyway, okay, for now, and then we have some specs for the models. That here we have a lot of types, a lot of the regression tests for that particular model. We have the factory, and we have valid. So I'm gonna actually add a few things here at this thing. I'm gonna check out a new branch. So I'm gonna branch and voucher variant. Call it voucher variant. Here I will say it so expected to have say variant that would of type integer, because I'm going to use an enum for, right. So going to be an right, and then I'm going to create another different types of factory. One called servings voucher, and then called, and so and this is, this is a solo project, so I can be a bit, I can do whatever I want, but right, let's run 8 factory variant. How do I do that? How do I do that on, right, the factory, and then I just add this. Right, so a factory voucher 2, and then this would be variant, and the variant would be servings, and then we add another one factory that would be cache, and that would be cache. Right. Okay, so this will of course fail. Right, and then we have attributes code attribute. I'm considering that I should have a read-only attribute variant. I don't want. No, but right, no. So I want to. Do I want to prevent the variant to update? Probably, but that could come in later. Let's think about this. I have to make the as a getter equal to. So right, so let's make a comment here. Right, let's think. Anyway, so the transactions, yes, owner, yes, okay. Right, the transactions will of course be have to be modified somehow because of change variant. But let's have the dependent destroy of the owner. Basically, it's not whose issues, because we have another called issuer. And then we have more depth tests about the owner, and he can be a registered user of the application, also just an anonymous. So, well, not fully anonymous because he needs to submit mail, purchase the voucher, but we don't that email for anything but this voucher. That is, and then we have the issuer and vendor. Right, describing that here, which means that we have a vendor and then we have the issuer, and the issuer is. But I remember I had some problems with the setup. Remember I had some problems with the setup because I needed to create a user directly on the vendor. So okay, so the issuer is a user and not the vendor itself. But that's another thing. Now I wish I had a tracker. I wish I had a tracker so I could make notes in there, not in black little. And then we validate. Right. So here's the problem with imposing a new variant. Because when we had serving, so here's the problem, right? So a huge problem actually. Because when we only dealt with servings, let's say we have 10 servings, and then you could have treated a transaction per not per. You could say that you come to the restaurant and you bring a friend and you want to pay for this friend's lunch with paid lunch card, right? So you create one transaction with 2 servings value. That is not how we do. We are like, if you want to buy lunch to a friend, then you actually want to create 2 transactions, right? And so what we are doing on the voucher to check if it's valid or not is basically to count the transactions. In this case, say that you had 10 transactions, 10 voucher thingy. So when your transactions are up, then you basically up. Now, if we want to go with cash value, that's going to be a different thing. And of course, we can condition that. You say that you take a look at the voucher. If it's a servings voucher, then you basically just do what we've done up until now. And if it's a value voucher, then you have a different way to check whether it's valid or not. That's probably how I'm going to go with that, unless I want to go in this deep into the methods of how this is being performed and change that. But we have this validate. Right. We have this way of doing things now. and so we're going to probably keep it and then add another way of doing things when we validate hash value. That's exactly what happened. And here I have some tests for the attributes, but for that I have to 1 second fetch coffee empty. So let's take a 30 seconds break. Kitchen and get myself Java. Right, be right back. Okay. So back at it. Let's see. Move on a little bit. And so what happens is that we are actually grabbing the code of the voucher and create a QR code with that. I can actually show you that. And we're checking whether we have a white QR code and a black QR, both of them, because we allow the vendors to choose between different layouts of the voucher, kind of. Right. Thing. Right. So we can activate a voucher or it can be inactive. That's the last spec we're writing here. Of course, when somebody so why do we have active or not active? When somebody buys it, actually purchase it, it can be created and bought at the same time. But you can also, as a vendor, create a set of vouchers so that you can have them on stock. For instance, if you want to print out and have them in your restaurant or what have you, then you don't want them to be active in case they get lost or get stolen or whatever. So you want them to be inactive, and you actually want to perform the process of activating them. So that's what we are looking for, pretty much. Right. So all of these are passing for me. So they were. Now they will start failing. So let's just run them. Spec, models and vouchers, specs. Right. Let's run things and we're going to fix them. Right. Did you variant? Right, so we're gonna have to go factory, and we're gonna just wrap the curlies. Forgot about that. If my my code formatter. Can't do. Oh, it did work. Right. So let's run this again. And we have some failings, but the other ones are working. Undefined method variant. So you can do Rails, generate migration, add variant to vouchers variant, and it will. Rails comes with predefined generators, pre-built generators, fantastic. We'll have to write a lot of code ourselves. So let's just have a look at that migration. And you see, just because I issued that particular command, just get this, add column vouchers variant. That's awesome. That's awesome. But want to say when take a look at add usage, a table, right? Categories table, create voucher table, remember paid create event, right? Right. Issuer. That's a mistake. There's a spelling mistake. Right. Right. Now we can probably do that now. Let's see if we can run this. But no, we can run the migration. Right. So it's the order of things that I'm doing. But let's run this Rails. Right. Okay, so if now run this test was go to database table. Right, let's run this. One should pass for me. Right, and so this will fail because there is no init. Really? Really, it is passing. And that's a false positive. That's actually a false. Because it figure out how we can test it. I think I've done it already at some point. But I am doing at the moment. So I need to figure this one. Thaddeus? Thaddeus? Du behöver inte vråla så, okej? Small kids at home? Early risers? All right. if we can out after 1 hour of out some stuff on. So I recently discovered a fantastic streamer on Twitch. She's not online on weekends though, so I can't really say anything about that. But Arc Anya, you guys are ever here online, in the morning, European time, UTC time. She is learning to code, and she has a great community. She's very friendly and definitely a good person to follow. And she and her associates, they have a Discord server up and running, and it's really vibrant. There's a lot of good things happening. And they have a self-promo thing. So I'm gonna shamelessly self-promote myself, saying that I'm on Rails API development. Not PI, but API, and that would be Thomas Hochman. 1A, Thomas 1S. There's something seriously wrong with my keyboard. It's not me. I'm gonna blame the keyboard, right? Right. Here we are, and gonna off like this. Oh, right. We need to. So I'm a bit worried because this factory thing should, in principle, not really pass for me. These things. Each servings voucher, because the vouchers factory are passing it. We're passing it, and that should not be. So that should. So we set this to an integer, and now we're passing in a symbol, and that there's a. So we're gonna have to check the should amateurs documentation, because I'm using a specific extension to RSpec called should. And this might be a bit boring for you guys. Right. Simple one-line test. Right. So the matchers are great. First of all, it simplifies my testing a lot. I would definitely argue that it's a really good thing to use them if you are into RSpec testing and you do request specs or no, not request specs. Yeah, well, they can help you with request specs too. But if you do unit testing, that is definitely a fantastic library. So, but I'm looking for a very specific specific use case. They are very it's very simple to set up for whatever testing framework you're using. I'm using RSpec, so it's not that odd at all. And in their examples, they are using the should notation, but they as you saw, perhaps you paid attention to that. I'm using the is expected, right? Is expected notation, but so I'm not using the should matchers to test my factory per se, but I still need to make sure that we are, but limiting this thing, whether it's servings voucher or cash voucher, to those two values, right? So if we go to my app, my models, and I go to voucher, I need to set there's another. This is correct, actually. I checked this. Let's just get rid of it. Right. So on the user, we have enum role. Right. So we don't have anything like this. So we need to test for enums, right? Let's just check if we do enum this repository. Define enum for matcher. Define enum for matcher. Define enum. Right. This is. So it is supposed to define for matcher, enum for, right? Define enum for. This is good. Exactly what I'm looking for. But can I be more specific? Oh, yes, I can. I can be more specific with values. How nice. How nice. So if I do this and I do the factory, then I should, hey, now I learned something new. So go to database tables and add factory attributes. Right. So it is expected Thomas, define num for variant, right? Expected to for variant, and then we can say dot with value not capital, with values, and then we say we'll say right. So we can say cash, that would be 0, and serving, that would be right. And so fine enum for, then right. And so we can run the 104 one. I can actually use this station, this kind of test, to test a thing on another thing that I'm using on my user model. React. What is this? That's not bad. That's unfortunate. So let's run the one on one, and are failing. Expected voucher to define variant as enum, but not such enum voucher. Okay. Let's say enum, and that would be on variant, and then one serving. No, sorry. That's right. That's how we do it. No. Like this. Right. And so let's run this now. And we are keen on this. Variant is an enum backed by an int values. Awesome. Which means that I should probably just not lazy, grab this one and go back and right. Role factor association. Right. So we could say, oh, well, I can roll with and then admin. Right. So you see, I didn't know about this matcher before, and therefore I had to write custom. So consumer employee admins. Because we have 4. Right. So you see, all of these things, all of these tests are testing whether I can switch between different roles. Because what enum rails for you, that it creates setter and getter methods, and I think they are not mutually excluding from each other, but I'm testing a little too much in this case. Now that I have this method here, matcher, that I just found out about, then I probably would write all of this. Like, definitely not these. On to test. I like this one though. Expect subject employee to change subject role from consumer. I like that one. It's a pretty nice test. I would say it's but anyway, let's run the user spec. So RSpec. Oh, actually. Oh yeah, RSpec spec models. It should go, but always have to run these. Right, user is expected to define role. Right, and now just ability. I don't think I like to. I'm gonna move the at role. Right. So I'm just gonna But is it really? Right. I'm just going to call it use role. Oh, all that. Right. Yeah. Back to diff. Right. Well, now, well, ugh. Anyway, let's keep. Anyway, we're not here to deal with the use of the voucher spec. So let's run the voucher spec. And the next thing I would like to actually do is to set this as a read-only attribute. I don't know if I can do enums to read only. Let's have a look at the voucher model. Because we already have at read-only code. Have a read-only attribute code. But can we turn off the enum? This actually good. Yeah, so can we just like do a bit of research? Rails can enum functionality label active record disable enums active enable. I did not option to able to disable scopes generated by enable scopes. That's 20 scopes. Let's have a look at that. Scope based on the allowed providers will be. Oh, but that's scopes. That's not. Right, so I can define the table, the scopes, but I don't. That's not what I'm looking. I'm looking for this. I want to be able to disable this. But perhaps if I disable that, then there is no need for them altogether. What's that? Suffix true. What is that? You can use suffix up by multiple enums. Ah, that's not a bad. But how can I would love to be able to remove this bang method. I would like to be able to, or disable the bang method. Because the only thing I want to question. Right, over bang method. Overriding bang method. Right. So right. So it seems like in value. Mm-mm. Bang imprint. I would like to that inherited Velvex as value. Right, let's have a look. Right. Database. Right. Right. Well, I'm gonna leave this be at this, and I will just take a short break for a few. We right back with. Right. Sorry. Right. So we would have to go in and override these bang methods. So we're not going to do that. That's not going to be our priority. And since it's a bang method, we can be very careful with just not using it with any of the functionality that we expose the API. So that should be okay. Anyway, now that I have this, so let me just to run all our model spec to see if I am up and running on properly. Yeah, Right, so git diff, we are adding a variant, and we are adding a variant to the voucher, factoring a little bit of code here. Right, that was actually more talking than coding, but that's the way. So we're gonna go in here, gonna stage. What is this? What is that? Right, add, no, that. So first of all, there's something in the public folder. So rm public, and then git rm cached. So cached public. Really? Anyway, this keeps hunting me. Keep hunting me. So at some point, I created by mistake a file that was called Q. Could it be Q from Star Trek? The lava lamp started to right. So we're good on that, and we just gonna say adds variant voucher, adds variant table vouchers, adds value variant, and then we do a small little factory, adds enum test or regression add enum, fancy word. It's an RSpec for just right. It's a little bit out of scope to change that. To add that thing, but that's basically what we're. So here, this, and now we just go up, upstream, right to upstream. Good stuff. And now we have a few more minutes. This. So let's take a look at least. Perhaps we shouldn't get to. Let's just let's just can take a look at some specs that are dealing with request specs. Right. So available service or the create endpoint user can open. Yes, user can purchase vouchers. That is the one. You can purchase vouchers when we want. So create consumer vendor Stripe. token, and then we go on with email param that can be sent to DB, purchase params, email, subscribe token, then the fast food. And here is the thing. Should we send in? So this is the test that will actually test for how this API endpoint is used, right? So we have a RESTful route that could be questioned a little bit, whether purchases is the right path here. But are actually already passing in card token. Right, vendor fast. Right. So the question is whether we want to allow this guy to pass in this attribute. But I'm just gonna say, actually I'm gonna say variant servings like this, variant serving, and then so does this mean that I have to write or duplicate these tests because we have two different variants? Probably yes. Probably yes. Probably we have to do. So we're gonna say describe voucher serving. Oh gosh, Thomas. Right. It's it feels a bit like right. So we get this out. Right. Does that mean that? Right. Right. Let's up now. And no, let's just because we're making this and the variant right. I am not particularly fond of that. Yes. Kan jag få mina... så fort jag är klar här så ska jag se om jag har också, okej? Jag kan ha en 20-lapp eller någonting. Jag är snart... Ja, jag kanske är färdig. Jag är färdig ganska snabbt. Right. So yeah, so this adds a bit of complexity. Yes. But let's run this now. Well, might pass for me. I'm not setting any validation on this variant attribute. But okay, let's one thing at a time. Let's run this first. And so we do RSpec and then spec, request specs, and you can purchase. Let's run this happen. There's no guessing, no guesswork. Let's just right. So let's just actually no. What I could do is I could set a validation on the variant that it needs to be present, and then if this is not being passed in, then we raise an error. That is actually a better, at least at this point. At least at this. Right. That's exactly what. Can this describe block and remove this, and we can just format our code, run this again, haven't up. That should be all good. Right. Okay. So you can just basically copy this test and add it here. Let's just absolutely right. Without variant. Without variant, basically. And so this, and this should be 422. You have to provide variant voucher. Oh, variant. That's a really shitty error message. So we can just for the readability, could say variant null. Null is JavaScript. Okay. So let's run this one on 71. I just want to scope my runner to the describe block that I'm actually. It is well. Right. No. I'm still gonna run the right. Right. It's called fast food. Right. That's the one. That's the one I want to. And then Hamas, stop making the spellings variant. Right. Let's have a look. Now this one fail for. Right, because it's supposed to raise 422, but we got a 401. That's this. So we have to provide a voucher variant. Let's have a look at the validations. So we will give this for a second. We'll go into our model and we will go to vouchers, and we do not have anything about validate. But we do have validate others. Come on. We have validation? Really? Really? Anyway, so valid. Let's go describe they haven't tested for implementation. It then we will say is did expected to validate. Validate what? Validate presence, right? Validate presence. I think I want to have the should matchers. Which one? They validate presence. They validate presence of, right? Right. Right. And then we want to validate. Whoops. What? What are you talking about? There we go. Right. Validate presence of variant. It's supposed to validate the presence of variant, and this should fail for me. So we do and that was on 5. Right. Right. This failed because we haven't added that validation, so we're gonna go there, and then we validate presence of value. Well, we had right value. Right. So apparently I was making a fool of myself. I did have a validator on this one, and I didn't write that up. Yes. Right. So now it's working, and then we just that voucher spec. Sorry. Right. There we go. And then we just validate. Right. So we just copy the same thing. But I'm not missing anything here. We have a DB column, then we have validations, then we have factories actually, because we have multiple factories. And then we have attributes, and then we have associations, and then there it is. Oh, I had that. Oh, God. Right. So from X this did add that it. So let me back to this. But I should also saying with message hope to get one. Title, just like add to validate presence. Check for that because I want to validate presence of with a message. They have documented that the source code. Oh, the spec for this. Right. Validates presence of this, of password, allow nil. We can allow this, but want on custom validation method, validate presence of legs method. Right, but we're not setting. Let's deal with the message. Like, actually, let's deal. Let's now back. Now that we have this validator, let's run our RSpec, hit this API, and actually try to create an instance voucher and see if any error. Right. Thank you. You have to provide expected has value. Have to provide, but right. So we are not returning this, of course. So here's the deal. So we now at this stage we are getting a 422, which is good because we created. Now the problem we have is that we are not returning right. We're not returning the right error message. You can fix that, definitely. Right. We have to go. Ouch. Got some static electricity. Trying to kill me. Let's go to the controller because that's where the magic happens. We have the vouchers controller, and we are hitting something like if the voucher is persisted, and we have the full message. So we want to set a debugger here. Try, and we want to back. And well, oh nice, it's not it. Thank you. Go. Really? Because it's in purchase and not in the voucher controller. And the problem with this is, of course, this is a bit problematic because I have two different flows where these vouchers can be purchased over, or two endpoints that expose the functionality. And there's a reason for this, of course. That is because they are totally different flows. One flow is for the administrator or the vendor, and the other one is for the end consumer or end user. And there are many other issues this particular purchases controller, apart from the naming issue that I am not particularly fond of. Purchases is like, I don't know, but also here I have this params value and I'm hard coding this 10 here, which is a magic number, right? So probably say something like a default value, like set a constant saying default value for servings and stuff. This is a magic number. I don't like. Well, when I talk about magic numbers, it's basically numbers that appear in your code that you do not understand where they come from. And there's a business rule here that comes into play saying that if no value is being provided for a servings type voucher, then it should have 10 servings. But if you read this code, you can't know that. So one way to fix this, be it a constant in your class definition. Say, for instance, give it a meaningful name, say default value for servings, and it just reference it here on this line, but out of scope. Anyway, I set a binding price here. Let's see if we can run this again. Right, so here we are. Good. So we checked if the voucher is persisted. It wasn't, so we are in this else block. Pretty straightforward. So let's just have a look at the voucher full messages. And it just says variant can't be blank. And right, variant can't be blank. And I don't like that method at all. I do not. So because we want to get vendor, have to provide a vendor. Right, so we have this message here. Have to provide a vendor. So we could override that on the model level, but then again, that is too tightly coupled with space. So right, so let's take errors. So could we check whether it's right? Right. Right. Can we say full message, or let's just method? I want to override this directly. Controller. For enter. Oh. Right. Not very happy with, because I want to. The full sentences, unless it's a I don't really feel like overriding the variant error message in my model. So or why wouldn't? Right. Um, a minute. Right. Can I just right? So let's just right. We're going to add this. There's a lot of to do. Change variant. The generic one. Right. But we're not going to deal with that at this. So we just go on and the error message. Variant. And I will just escape the Right. Right, and then voucher controller should be better. Have to put right. Let's see if we can run this now. Right. Right. Well, that worked. So I'm not right. So well, actually, let's run the whole thing. Oh well, thank you very much. What the? Really? Really? Why would I break all of these? Because of what? I missed. Oh yes, of course, because I need to sanitize that parameter. No? Hold on a second. Voucher. Voucher create. Oh, we're setting everything here without sanitizing those parameters? That's active. Yeah, because we're setting this active. So I need to set the variant, and then I will say params. Right, so this should pass now. But this, right. Well, actually, right. Go there, and are good. Tired. So, people, if you enjoy test-driven development, or kind of, or in building RESTful APIs using Rails, then are more than welcome to follow me. I'll do a bit Rails from time to time. So all these failed tests are caused by not setting the variant in my factory, and I just made it mandatory. So this is a very common practice, that because you're so focused working on a specific test case, and then at the end of your work you need to run the entire test suite, and which is something that I try to avoid doing over while I work, because it, as you can clearly see, takes some time. So all of these the things that you've been working on can definitely break the your application or your test suite. And at this stage we have like 55 failure, right? And there is a very quick fix to that. So sometimes you get really scared, like go like, wow, I just broke my entire app. There's a quick fix for this, hopefully. And you just go into this voucher and you just go variant variant, that the default one serving. and now we can run the whole thing. And we should hurry now. I've been at it for 2 hours, so or end of the good. Don't face any issues that I just had. The API issue. And I've been away from this project for a while now, but I do believe that I have continuation set up on this. I'm not 100% sure. I have my work cut out for me tomorrow, so I will be getting back to this project and checking out the rest of my to-do list. I have some failing tests. I have to take that. And whoever is watching, say hi and where you come from. Chat if you can. I'd love to hear more about you. What sort of error, what sort of development you, if you are coding, or if you're coding, then sitting coding, that's interesting itself. So get can create, admin can create voucher spec, and admin, yeah, so this one is up this. Oh yeah, so I just need params, right? So I need a variant serve. With valid data and right the valid data. I am not a great double quotes. I have to, but so I might as well escape these characters. And I don't have a full slash on my computer. What to do it. Right, so let's just run this. Right. No. Yeah. Oh shit. Still failing. Very status code. What? What? Let's just. I really. Voucher. Right. 0 parameters. Variant. Can I say variant? Let's run this again. Have to sanitize parameter. I should have done it in the. Okay, we're good. Status. Controller. Let's do. Yeah. If. Sätt på dig lite kläder så åker. Bara gå och klä på mig. Fråga mamma, vi ska åka iväg. Ska inte du ha lite kläder på dig? Tadeusz, prata med mor, vi ska åka på en utflykt. Ja. Nej, jag är klar. Och jag är klar ganska snabbt. Och då är det bra om du har lite kläder. Ja, jag ska göra det. Definitivt ska du få 20 kronor utav mig. Ska du få det. Absolut. Absolut. So let's see, what did we do? Right. So we updated the request specs. We requested API endpoints for that variant is being saved. Right. Perhaps not entirely 100% done yet, but probably get back to that later on. So updates, relevant. That endpoints that variant saved, Thomas, saved. Sometimes you make typos, then you typos. Updates relevant endpoint that variant attribute. Right, so right. Right. I think that our upstream. And let's just have on our upstream that we actually have like and this is still a work in progress. And continuous integration has not been. That's going to be it. And also perhaps have some know more about that. But anyway, that kind of does it for me today. Thank you very much for tuning in. I will be back and doing some more Rails development. There are plenty of things done on this one, and also tomorrow I will dive into the actual PDF maker class. So I'm using a gem called Prawn. Actually, Prawn. It's a fantastic name. We love prawns here all the time. Chance we. But I'm using a library called Prawn, and I will dive in modifying a little bit of that, a little bit of refactoring, because that module is a mess at this. But anyway, thank you very much for tuning in. Join me tomorrow if you want, and if you haven't clicked that follow button, please do. And if you tell me more about yourself, what technology stack and what coding you, then don't be shy. Chat. Anyway, I see you tomorrow. I'm back at 8 o'clock. On. Yeah, time. I think it's you.